What's going on there, YouTube, and welcome back to another comic book video. Okay, guys, so we are basically going to continue our coverage over the Reign of X era of X-Men comics, where we actually now pick up with Sword number 4. Now, Sword number 4 is all about one particular meeting. Yes, you heard that right. It's about a meeting. But this meeting is between the Quiet Council and Fabian Cortez. Because remember, at the end of our last video, basically after the King in Black event, Magneto told the Five to resurrect Fabian Cortez. Because Magneto felt like it was about time for him and Fabian Cortez to have a meeting. And on top of that right there, Fabian Cortez wants to have a meeting with the Quiet Council about one particular law. And that law is one heck of an important law for COPPA. So with that being said, Sword number 4 is one interesting book, and I do hope you enjoy. But here we go. Now, before we are actually able to jump over to the meeting between Magneto, Fabian Cortez, and also the Quiet Council, we actually pick up on a planet known as J453. Now, this planet actually belongs to the Kree-Skrull Empire, because remember, by this point in Marvel Comics, the Kree and the Skrulls had joined forces, and so now they have one big empire, and this planet belongs in their empire. But the reason why we're actually picking up with this empire, because Sword, being a space book for Marvel Comics, is right now part of a storyline known as the Snark Wars. And the Snark Wars is a very interesting storyline that we are technically not going to cover anytime soon. But basically, the Snark Wars is that you had a race known as Zenrex, and I really hope I pronounced that correctly. And basically, it's kind of like a lizard alien race. Now, their king had died, and with their king's death, of course, now all of his children are fighting against one another to basically rule over their entire race. Now, Prince Weasel, one of the king's kids, had came to the super intelligence for some help. Now, the super intelligence belongs to the Kree race, if I remember correctly. But basically, it's kind of like a very smart being that the Kree used to use for a lot of different reasons. Now, with that being said, you have the super intelligence tell Prince Weasel that they are not going to help him out, because this planet, even though now it belongs to the Kree and the Skrulls, Prince Weasel and his race basically ran the Kree off this planet years ago. And so basically, it's the super intelligence telling Prince Weasel, you hurt my people years ago, and so now I'm not going to help you. Now, Prince Weasel only came to the super intelligence for help because somebody is going around killing off all the children that used to belong to the king of the Zenrax race to basically end the war at a very faster rate. But the question is, though, who is killing off all the children? But right when the super intelligence tell Prince Weasel, no, we're not going to help you, somebody else kills Prince Weasel. Another kid of the king has died. Now, we do jump back down to Earth, where basically we pick up with the Five bringing back Fabian Cortez. Now, remember, Fabian Cortez did die in the King in Black event, which honestly is not a huge thing when it comes to X-Men characters. Other characters, yes, but for the X-Men, no. And the reason why, because the X-Men found a way to basically bring people back to life. That right there is very huge. Now, when I say they bring someone back to life, I really mean that they basically make you a new clone body and download your memories into that new clone body so that you're able to kind of live once again, even though you did technically die and have moved on to the afterlife. But either way, when you have Fabian Cortez come back to life, he is confronted by Jean Grey. And you have Jean Grey basically take Fabian Cortez to go meet with the Quiet Council. Now, there is something I do want to mention, and that is Fabian Cortez used to be part of one of many Magneto's teams. I want to say it was the Acolytes, but Fabian Cortez was a big time fan of Magneto, and I mean a big time fan. But the reason why I'm pointing that out right now because by this point in Marvel Comics, Magneto looks at Fabian Cortez as just a regular mutant that's hanging out, even though Fabian Cortez has done a lot of things for Magneto. On top of that, Fabian Cortez's powers is very beneficial for mutants because basically Fabian Cortez has the ability to basically boost up another mutant's powers to make them be almost Omega level. So that's why his powers are really cool. And so it's kind of weird to see Magneto take a character who used to be on his team and not really care for that character anymore. But either way, you do have Fabian Cortez tell the Quiet Council that he wants to talk about murder. Now, before we are able to actually see Fabian Cortez continue that meeting, we actually do pick up with two other characters that are part of the Zenrax race. Now, remember, these two characters who belong to the Zenrax race are the children of the king that had died recently, meaning that they're part of the Snark Wars. Now, the reason why these two kids are meeting up is because these two kids got word that their siblings have been killed off. And so, of course, now they know someone is going around killing off their siblings, but not in a very honorable way. And so right now, it's the daughter of the king asking her brother to join forces to protect one another. Because right now, somebody is going out of their way to make this Snark Wars even worse than it already was by killing off their own siblings. But of course, her own brother is planning on killing her behind her back. Now, basically, we do jump back over to the meeting between the Quiet Council and Fabian Cortez. Now, this meeting is actually very important because this is Fabian Cortez bringing up one particular law that he does not like. And that law is how mutants are not allowed to kill humans. Because that law was made at the very beginning of House of X and Power of X. And basically, with that law, mutants were not allowed to kill humans. If they do kill humans, they're basically locked away. And so basically, what you have Fabian Cortez saying that law is not fair. Because humans are still hunting down mutants. Humans still hate us. Humans still want to wipe out the mutant race completely. And so for Fabian Cortez, he's wondering, how in the world is that fair for our people? They're allowed to hunt us down, to do horrible things to us, but we can't kill them. Even if we're trying to protect ourselves, we're still not allowed to basically defend ourselves with killing them. How is that law fair? And if they kill us, all we do is that let them go or let their countries basically deal with that person. But for us, if we kill them, we're locked away forever. That's not fair. And so it's really Fabian Cortez saying that law needs to be reworked because how is it fair for the humans to kill us, but we can't kill the humans? Now, getting back over to those two characters that are basically part of the Zenrax race, who are part of the Snark Wars. Remember, one of the siblings was about to kill the other sibling, a brother about to kill his own sister to kind of help him win the Snark Wars. But come to find out that she is saved by somebody, that somebody was able to kill her brother before her brother had killed her. Now, with her being saved, she's kind of like, wait a second, who saved my life? Now, that is the moment you do have an old character reappear in X-Men comics, and that character is Amelia Vaught. Now remember, Amelia Vaught was a love interest of Charles Xavier right before he had discovered the X-Men or made the X-Men. And so, of course, she was kind of a retcon in the 1990s, but of course, she only pops up here and there in Marvel Comics. But this is her reappearing, and we're left to believe at first that she was the one who saved the daughter of the king of the Zenrax race. But to come find out, it wasn't her, that basically she's just tagging along with somebody else. And that is the moment you have this other person actually kill off the daughter of the king of the Zenrax race. So now 2 more kids that belong to that race have been killed off. Now, of course, we actually do jump back over to the meeting between the Quiet Council and Fabian Cortez. Now, this meeting does go on for a few more pages, where basically you have Fabian Cortez trying to convince the Quiet Council that their law is not perfect, that their law is kind of messed up, that their law does need to be reworked in a better way, in a better image. But of course, the Quiet Council are kind of like, they're trying to show the world that mutants are better than humans. And so if they do go out of their way, it's basically saying, if we do kill humans like they kill us, how can we show the world that we're better than them? And this is kind of very similar to what happened back in the early 1960s when it came to the civil rights with Martin Luther King, where basically he did not want to go out of his way to kill Caucasian people, because to him, they're like, if they hate us and we go out of our way to hurt them like they hurt us, how can we show the world that we are better than them? But in reality, we're being just like them. Let's show them that we can be better than them by not killing them like they're killing us. It's a peaceful route rather than a more aggressive route. And that's the thing. The Quiet Council is trying to do a peaceful way to show the world that basically mutants can be better than humans without actually killing humans off. That right there is very huge. Now, with that being said, that is the moment we kind of find out that basically Fabian Cortez has been replaced by a character known as Cora of the Burning Heart. And this character comes from Araco. And remember, Araco is basically a second island of the mutant race, because after X of Swords, the other island that was banished away years ago came back to Earth. And so you have 2 islands full of mutants. And Araco, there are a ton of mutants on Araco that we still do not know about yet. And this character right here is a new one. But basically, this character has replaced Fabian Cortez in a way. And we are going to learn more about this character's powers down the road. But basically, this is a character who's being brought into the Sword program to replace Fabian Cortez, because this character has more abilities than Fabian does. And really, the Quiet Council was just letting Fabian talk to let him learn a lesson. You may not come to the Quiet Council and try to force us to change a law that we set, a law that is going to basically make us look bad. So this meeting is over. Now, there is a very special reason on why Fabian Cortez has basically been replaced in the Sword program. And the reason why, because they're trying to mass produce and finding and making more of their new special metal that is called Mysterium. Now, Mysterium is going to play a very important role in later storylines down the road that we are going to cover. But for right now, basically, this metal is very rare and they're trying to mass produce it to get more of it, because they know that this metal could basically put the mutant race in front of the humans. And that right there is kind of like their main goal. And so with that being said, I do hope you enjoy today's comic book video. If you do, please leave me a like down below and subscribe. Also, if you have any suggestions on books I should read, well, please let me know in the comments below, because you never know, your suggestion could be a future video down the road. But guys, I'll see y'all next time. Later.